Alright, ready?
Kayfabe Gimmicks! You know where to find us on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Fiction Entertainment, brother. YouTube. Fiction Entertainment, brother. YouTube.
Fucking #1 Kayfabe Gimmicks podcast ever. So.
How are you looking for?
Put words in the wrong place.
Are you recording all this, dude? The best wrestling podcast that's always been.
What you gonna do, brother, when the beast starts talking about wrestling and drinking whiskey and it's all crazy up in here?
And then at one point they handed Ryback to the guy because he pulled the straps off his singlet.
Well, that's talking about NXT, and I don't give a damn. And you know what happened on Raw this week? Because I don't give a damn. I'm Snuva. I got Alex
What?
here tonight.
I fucked your mom, what?
Oh, shit. And we got Mark here.
I'm back.
Smarky Mark is back, guys. I don't want to talk about Raw. I don't want to talk about the death of Michael Cole. I don't...
Whoa. You have to talk about the death of Michael Cole.
I don't want to talk about it because we have something important to discuss this week. Something really important to discuss this week, Alex. You know what that is?
The stench emanating from your vagina.
Maybe, maybe not. I was leaning more towards your mom's pussy, but in reality, I want to talk about what we think is going to come ahead in the year of wrestling that just started.
Well, it's going to be hard to talk about that without talking about Raw.
Not
I
at
can
all.
talk about that. No, that's okay. I can talk about that too.
We don't really need
There's
to
a lot
discuss
of relevancy to this Raw as far as the future is concerned.
Oh, God, no. Not when it comes down to things like who's going to win the Rumble this year, who's going to win Money in the Bank. We don't have a clue out of any of that from this Raw. Except maybe Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar could win Money in the Bank.
I think Daniel Bryan will win the next Rumble.
No,
Just because the last
next
two have turned
Rumble?
into... Because the last Rumble have turned into complete shitfest precisely because he didn't win.
We're
I think
pushing
it'll
way
just
too
keep
far
happening
into the end of
until
the
he
year
wins.
already.
Yeah, I mean,
Hold
seriously,
on to
that
that.
is the end
Hold
of
on
the
to
year.
that thought. That's January, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And, you know, I want to
It's
go with our
fucking-
first...
It's April.
It is April, and I want to go with our first information, which really comes into April. We already know that Seth Rollins is going to be feuding with Orton at Extreme Rules.
That was kind of foreseen, I think, by most people.
I mean, it was foreseen, but I mean, are we really excited about this?
They had
really-
good matches.
Yeah, it's supposed to have good matches. It's a match we've seen a bunch already.
Okay, I'm gonna put it like this. I'd much rather see Rollins fighting off Reigns and Orton than just Rollins fighting off Reigns, because at that point, Rollins is no longer a heel, he's a face.
I want to see Orton versus Daniel Bryan, actually. If we could have anything right now.
I think we're in a good spot with Daniel Bryan. I wouldn't worry about him too much right now.
I mean, I'm not worried about him, but I mean, if we're going to do something different and interesting, I think it would be interesting to see Randy Orton go after the Intercontinental belt.
Yeah,
I'd
it
rather
definitely help elevate it.
I would rather have Wade Barrett, on the other hand,
Okay.
step up to go against Rollins.
Now, hold on. I'm going to point out the hypocrisy in what you just said.
Why?
You want to see Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan go at it, but you don't want to see Randy Orton and Seth Rollins go at it because it's a match you've seen a bunch already.
Yeah, I wasn't really watching wrestling during the
Right,
Daniel Bryan Orton feud.
It's
Okay,
just because like the
I'm
matches
just saying.
between Rollins and Orton have been like good, but they've been like good, but not like spectacular. Whereas matches between Bryan and Orton are typically like really good. So I'm more okay with seeing that again.
That's not even that true, honestly. I mean, Daniel
Anything
Bryan
is better
puts
than
on-
Orton versus Cena. Let's say that.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's the feud that never ends. It goes
Like Bryan versus Orton is a match I don't mind seeing a few more times, you know?
I could say the same thing about Orton and Rollins. So I
don't know if they have anything left to pull off after that RKO.
I'm sure dude, Rollins is innovative as fuck. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
I mean, he is, but between that RKO and the vicious streak from Randy, there's not a lot more we can do right now.
Plus,
Yeah,
the thing with
possibly.
Orton being a huge main event with himself would help with the pushing of the mid-card title and feuding for it, you know?
Yeah, but at the same
Whereas,
time,
like, him in the world title picture doesn't really add anything.
they
interesting.
wouldn't have anyone to go after Seth Rollins at that point.
Like I said, I mean, Barrett face turn? I could go
Dude,
for a Barrett
no.
face turn.
No,
No.
Barrett. You want to know who Barrett is right now? Barrett's a bitch. Let's be real about that.
I want so much more out of Barrett.
Barrett is a low mid card. Whenever you're talking about quote unquote power level wise, like if Seth Rollins is like a 5,000 right now, Barrett is like a 3.
As far as
So,
track record is concerned,
Nobody's
yeah,
expecting Barrett to go anywhere this year?
Well, that's way
maybe-
too soon to tell.
Maybe to the U.S. title.
Oh my god, see, that's terrible. I really like Barrett. I think Barrett was going a very long way before the Dolph Ziggler breaking his arm incident.
I agree. But right now they don't really show that they have much faith in him. I mean, they put the IC title on him for what, a month? 2 months?
I don't even remember who held it before him, so that's how sad
Ziggler.
that state is right now.
That was the whole Ziggler got fired thing.
Oh god. Well, let's bring it up. Who thinks Ziggler's going anywhere this year?
That's actually an interesting one.
Well, there's one place I could see him going, which is just like a huge rivalry of Bryan, which already seems to be the case.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. If him and Bryan are going to become like rivals, and Bryan eventually drops the IC title, even if it is to Ziggler and then Ziggler and Bryan moves up back into the world title feud and wins that, I could see them reviving that as a main event feud as like a time filler between. I don't know where it would be a time filler between. I think it would actually take all the way till next year to even see that. But
I wouldn't want to see that exactly happen. A feud between would be good with Bryan winning, just because the mid card titles need elevating. That's like something we've really got going on right now. And I think Bryan and Cena should both hold the belts for a long time.
I definitely agree there. I think they should hold it till SummerSlam.
I'll be salty.
Maybe even
as hell
a
if
year
Sheamus-
plus, I think.
I'll be salty as hell if Sheamus takes it off of Bryan almost instantly.
If we're
I
gonna
think
talk
the
about
best way to
Sheamus,
switch those titles is to have them both keep them for a year.
if we're gonna talk about Sheamus, I motherfucking hate the soul patch.
I hate the mohawk.
I'm
I
cool
love
with the
it, yeah.
mohawk.
I
I'm
don't
cool
like
with
the
the
mohawk with the beard.
I'm cool with the braids on the beard, but the fact that they didn't have the beard cross the chin and they put the soul patch on the chin instead feels like it weakens his face. Does that make sense? It makes his chin disappear because the hair all of a sudden goes upwards and
Yeah,
comes
that's true.
down covering it, and it just weakens the man's chin. And in wrestling especially, I mean, when we look at these men, I mean, you know, I'm not gay, but they should look strong.
You're at a
They should have strong faces. Fuck you,
I don't know,
man.
I'm looking at Sheamus now and he looks pretty good, right?
I don't like the soul patch. I feel like it weakens
He had
his
that
entire
before.
face.
Yeah, but his hair was different. That's why you never noticed it, and he didn't have a beard going with it.
Yeah, and I think that,
He did, I'm looking at it right now, the beard's the same, just with the braids.
so he had the handlebar mustache into the mutton chops with a soul patch.
Google it, I'm looking at it right now.
It's terrible. I'm just saying.
Okay,
The only
then
thing
the,
different about the facial hair is the braids.
then the mohawk makes it look terrible.
I don't know, I'm a fan. I like
Maybe. He just... It changes the dynamic of his face.
It's
Instead
a
of
weird
having...
look, so it's going to go both ways, isn't it? You can get people who love it and people who hate it, but I like it.
I just don't feel like it gives him a strong face. It looks like if I punch him in the chin, he's gonna fall
It
down.
looks kind of like, it looks just a bit more eccentric, which I think works with it.
And I agree there. I don't know. It kind of brings out the chubbiness of his face in total. The lack of hair on the
come on,
sides.
you don't look at the guy, you don't look at the full guy and think chubby, do you? So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I do when I just see his face, and WWE likes close-ups.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all well and good. He's a heel.
Thank God.
Where do we see Sheamus going this year, guys?
I think he is a better heel look, though, yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good heel look.
Well, as a heel, you can go a long way. I mean, there really isn't that many heels, so it's wide open for him.
Let's look at our heels right now. Who do we have heel-wise? We have Bray Wyatt. We have
Rollins.
Wade Barrett. Rollins.
Yeah, but think of like
Sheamus.
who are like main event heels. There's Rollins and there's Wyatt. That's it.
Big Show and Kane.
Yeah, but not really, because no one wants to see them in the main event of anything, do they? You're not going to get a pay-per-view headlined with Kane or Big Show.
I don't think Big Show's done yet. I think Big Show's going to get a good push this year.
Yeah, and everyone will hate it, because it'll be awful.
Besides that, you still have Cesaro as a main event heel. Is Cesaro kind of main event now?
No.
No, Cesaro could be a main event heel, but he isn't one. It take a lot of pushing to get that.
I really feel like we dropped a lot on him this year.
The ball was dropped on Cesaro in general.
Not just this year, for a while now.
Well, going all the way back to WrestleMania 30, he had a ton of momentum coming out of it.
Yeah.
And nothing happened with the guy.
Like, as much as Snoover likes to go on me about me blaming Vince all the time, but it is obviously Vince. But you saw the Stone Cold promo. It's him who's not the fan, you know?
I feel, one of our main event heels, and I feel like he's going to be around, and, God knows what's going to happen, but...
If he ever gets that level, he'll be as a face. He'll become too popular.
There's a good chance we're going to see Rollins versus Triple H this year.
That
sure
wouldn't surprise me, but I'm sure the belt will not be involved.
I don't know if he will still have the belt by then, but I definitely see a Rollins versus H match this year.
Well, that's just always how these things happen, isn't it?
Alright, so
This
I'm
is
going to
safe bet.
throw out one of the other big questions. Where do you guys see John Cena this year?
As the US champion, making it bigger.
Besides
I really
that, it's
wish-
not
They
gonna stay
should
forever.
be.
I really wish he
Not
had brought out
forever.
the spinner. I would have marked out if he brought out the spinner. I will say that he had a great match with Dean Ambrose, and, I want to see more of that springboard stunner.
Okay,
I don't
that
think he'll be using that regularly. It'll be like the
No.
leg drop, won't it? It'll be a pay-per-view move.
now you just brought up something important. Do you think that Dean Ambrose and him will actually have another match for the title?
Oh yeah, I can see them going all the way through Extreme Rules for it.
I honestly
The way
think
it
it's gonna
ended
end up-
with like Ambrose and Cena at the end of the match, I think I could see it turning into a rivalry. A kind of
I
sort of
think
friendly rivalry, but still a rivalry.
if we're gonna talk about this right now, you know who I think's a main event heel right this second? Rusev.
Rusev.
Rusev
of
is a
course,
main
yeah,
event
I
heel.
forgot about him.
With this whole oh my god moment of him versus Goldust going back into the squash matches, I would not be surprised if you see him in the main event come Survivor Series.
Depending upon who holds the belt.
Right, so really, we look at it, we've got 3 main event heroes.
Rollins isn't going to last as heel.
No, yeah, Rollins is gonna have to turn eventually. He already gets too big of cheers.
I think you're going to see a Rollins face turn by Money in the Bank.
I think it'll be post Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank's 4 months away.
Well, no,
I don't think
mean,
he's
like,
going to be able to keep the heat for 4 more months.
I mean, like, quite literally after Money in the Bank that Monday.
I mean, okay. That's still in the 4-month time frame, I guess.
Plus, I could see Brock Lesnar coming back and winning Money in the Bank.
I was saying that. I could see that too. I either see that or they're gonna have him do some other thing around SummerSlam, and then he wins the Rumble.
I know this much. Brock Lesnar holding the Money in the Bank briefcase would be great for ratings and stuff.
Sorry,
Think
one thing
about-
cut out a bit there. Who did you say would win the Rumble?
I was saying that Brock was either gonna win Money in the Bank or the Rumble.
Alright, think about
Money in
this.
the Bank.
Think about Brock. Like, you don't know if he's actually there or not, right? Rollins doesn't, if he's still holding the belt. And during, like, during Rollins matches, you hear Brock's music play and it just turns out to be Heyman. And that happens a couple times just to mess with them. And then finally, one time it's Brock. Just coming out to rip Rollins into shreds.
I mean, I think that's absolutely brilliant. I would definitely have Heyman do that kind of stuff. My thing about that is as much as I could see Brock winning Money in the Bank, that does not mean I can see Brock being in a six-man ladder match right now.
That's also very true. Which is one of the bigger issues with him winning Money in the Bank, would be him being in a six-man tag match.
Continuing onwards, do you guys see King of the Ring returning this year?
No.
I certainly hope so. You know my opinion on that.
I mean, I know you want it, but do you see it as a possibility?
No.
There's no sign of it. So there's no way of telling.
The closest thing we got to a sign out of it was the fact that they referenced the fact that Sheamus won King of the Ring at one point.
Yeah, I don't really think that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't see that as them hinting at another King of the Ring.
No, I don't really either.
Could be
How
amazing.
about Cody Rhodes? What do we see coming up with him? Does he make it main event finally?
I unfortunately think he's stuck as Stardust.
I like him as Stardust, but I think he will. I think he could be, but he'll never be a main eventer.
I think he is better as Stardust than he ever was as Cody Rhodes.
Except when he was dashing Cody Rhodes, he was good then.
But
I didn't like dashing. I
even
like
to say
disfigured.
that, if he's Stardust, he will never be main event.
Which is a shame, 'cause he's really good at it.
I mean,
He's
it's
such a
hard
good
to tell.
character worker.
It's hard to tell here. Sandow.
I think he's
IC
in the
title.
same boat. He'll never be a main eventer.
I can see Sandow moving up into the mid card though easily after his feud with the Miz.
Upper mid carder is like that's his ceiling. I don't think he'll ever get beyond that.
I don't know. I mean, the fans are really, really behind him. It really depends on how this goes.
That's what I mean. Depending
Yeah, but
upon how this Miz feud goes.
I think the highest level he'll ever attain is basically at the level like Dolph Ziggler is at now. Like someone who's like won the world championship for like a month at one point, but is never really a main eventer.
I mean,
Say that,
you
but
know,
Dolph was supposed to be up there and holding the title for a long time.
But he
Until he got a
hit.
concussion.
Exactly.
Yeah,
know-
maybe, yeah.
My thing is this, right? If Sandow won it for a month, I would be pretty content. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but like, they wouldn't make him a main eventer necessarily. To be a main event, you kind of have to sustain that level, you know?
Well, I mean, if extenuating circumstances took him out of it, I mean, I consider Dolph a main eventer still, even though he
No, he's
hasn't
not.
been in
He's
a
an
main
upper
event.
mid carder. He's like very upper mid carder.
I would
You know.
actually agree with Mark on that one. Dolph is like the top of the mid card.
Well, I mean, you know, it's really funny because you talk about Dolph and Daniel Bryan putting on great matches together, but, you know, do you remember when Dolph and Kofi put on the show-stealing matches?
I mean,
That used to be a thing.
Yeah,
That used to be a major thing.
Yeah,
and it was entertaining as hell, that's for sure.
but like I don't know, Ziggler is like he gets loud reactions, but he's never gotten the kind of like sustained reactions of someone who's like Daniel Bryan or
Well, that's
even
not
Dean
true.
Ambrose.
Dolph had huge pops for a long time.
It's kind of I don't know. There's something about it that's not hitting at that level.
Dolph has had huge pops since he cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. It's
Yeah,
been
that's the
pretty
thing.
much.
It kind of goes through periods with him. Like he'll be really popular. Then for a while, they're not really that into him anymore. Then he'll become really popular again, and you know, it's never like sustained for a long time.
I don't know, man. I'd still put him as one of the guys who gets big pops all the time.
Well, while we're on the discussion of it, how do we see Pac going this year?
Dude, just
Neville
call him by his
now.
name.
I don't want to call him Neville. I just
Call him
automatically
Adrian,
go Harry
yeah,
Potter.
fine.
Adrian! How do you see Adrian going this year? Is that better?
That's an interesting one.
Hard to
And
tell.
I would say you never know. Because he was over as fuck on Monday. But that's because it was the Raw after WrestleMania, debuting an NXT guy in a building full of people who all watch NXT and who all probably saw him in the Indies. It's not that hard for him to be over. It'll be interesting to see how he does in the next month or so.
Oh, he could definitely get over. Just the high flying shit he can do is
Well, I
Like, take
agree.
the casual fans. The fact that they're not hardcore fans means that he's going to be doing stuff they've never seen before.
No, I agree with that, but it's also going to come down to will people like him for more than just
He's
his
not a
move.
good promo guy. He's sort of average at best.
I
Well-
mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like he's going to be a mid-carder at best.
He'll be Dolph Ziggler level.
High
Upper
flyers
mid-
go
upper,
nowhere in
like-
the WWE.
He'll probably be like a top level mid carder.
See, it's a weird thing because him and Finn are very similar in the ways of their body build. Finn, obviously having, well, yeah, but I mean height-wise and things like that, and
Yeah.
even their move sets. They both use a lot of top rope, drop kicks, over-the-top rope moves, things like that.
Mhm.
And yet the difference in it comes down to two things, and it's one, the charisma, and two, the promo abilities. Because let's be
Finn
real
has
here,
a-
we all know whenever Finn eventually debuts, him, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens are basically going to get skyrocketed into the main event. That's not really a question.
I mean, I would definitely question that.
Really.
I would definitely question that. I mean, unless
what reason?
Valor develops amazing mic skills.
He's got
Yeah.
mic skills already.
He's
And
got
he's gonna-
good mic skills.
And he's going to move merch like it's nobody's business.
He's one of those guys who's going to have the whole image thing where he's not going to have to talk that much.
Yeah.
So he's going to be Rey Mysterio. He can sell merchandise like a motherfucker,
No,
but really he
Kalisto
has no
already-
point.
Kalisto already proved that he's going to be Rey Mysterio, bro.
Or even take like the Undertaker. He never talked that much, and he was never like spectacular on promos either. He was like he could do what he needed to do, but
Well,
no one was like raving about Undertaker's promos.
That's true and not true, because The Undertaker for his much earlier days definitely was not good on the mic, which is why he had Paul Bearer and things like that. He developed over time, though.
Yeah, but it's not like he was never like a top promo guy.
And I mean, you could say the same thing about Neville at this point. Neville was just, like, if you watched NXT like 2 years ago, oh my god.
Yeah, that's the thing. Neville has improved from terrible to average.
Yeah, which, I mean, he could get better, you never know.
Yeah,
And it's going to come down to how people view him more than anything else.
So, let's be honest. We have Zayn and Owens both out on injury right now. Will they get a big push at all, or will WWE want to treat them like they're treating Daniel Bryan right now, where they don't want to exacerbate the injury because they're not trying to create another Kurt Angle?
they're doing a terrible job at not exasperating injury. They just put him in a 7-man ladder match.
Yeah, but he had a lot of time to rest during that match. The thing about 7-man ladder matches is you have a lot of
you
rest
have a
time.
lot of rest time, yeah.
I guess he never did any crazy spot in the match, did he? So.
He had the superplex off of the ladder.
Yeah,
No, that wasn't him, was it? That was Cody took it, and it wasn't it Barrett who gave it?
No, I thought it was Dolph and Bryan, but it might have been Dolph and Cody.
No, I think I think Wade Barrett superplex Stardust.
No,
Stardust
that
is definitely the one who took it.
That one happened. That was off the top of the ladder. I think there was also I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm pretty sure
But
it was Stardust who got
either
hit
way,
with the
yeah, it's true. A 7-man ladder match gives you a lot of time to rest. But I don't think the Kevin Owens one is definitely a lot less worrisome because
Owens is a slam dunk. He's too good
Well,
on promo.
it was also
Sure, that's why he's feuding with Alex Riley right now.
it was also stated
Feuding,
that
like 1
he
month.
shut the fuck up, motherfuckers. He also
Hey,
had
he's
that
gonna have
injury since before he came to the WWE, so it's not like it was something that just popped up. Have we heard news on what Sami Zayn's issue is?
No.
I'm not even sure people are even that sure it's kayfabe or not.
You know, this brings up the interesting thing, though. If did WWE know he was previously injured before he came over?
I'm sure they did. I'm
They
sure.
all do medical evaluations.
Okay,
and shit.
let's be real here. It was an injury to his knee, which means it was
Mhm.
probably a minor injury to his knee. As he continued to wrestle, it got strained out more and eventually became something that they needed to fix, but at the time, wasn't worth fixing.
Yeah, well, you know, you bring up the point of once you've had surgery on it, it's just going to keep going out.
That's not true,
Especially
though.
under heavy strain.
That's not true. Come on, dude. I've had both of my knees surgically repaired, and I still squat almost 500 pounds. which is a lot more impact than even jumping over a top rope probably is.
Yeah, but you also, I mean, your training regiment to a professional wrestler's training regiment.
I don't know, man.
Eh. Also, like, really? You
You
got
see-
both your knees replaced?
Yes, I had both my knees replaced.
Wow, man, they won't even replace a lettuce still.
I didn't do it in the military. That's why.
Well, I mean, they don't want to replace hers because she's so young for knee surgery right now.
Yeah, well, mine were during sports. They didn't really have a choice.
I'm surprised you got in.
I'll just say this. It's definitely not an issue for Kevin Owens. The Sami Zayn one is a bit more interesting because we don't really know what's happening. Also,
Because obviously
interesting
he
thing
was
that I
like
saw
selling
today.
like the whole
Since
idea
we're
with him and
talking
Kevin Owens when he lost the
Shut up,
title was
Mark.
like
Since we're talking about NXT guys, I saw something interesting on Twitter today. Apparently, Goldust is moving to NXT.
I mean,
And
you know,
I'm assuming it's going to be in more of a training role, things like that.
but they have fucking Tensai as their trainer
They
right
have
now.
Albert, but that doesn't mean that they don't need more. And come on, Goldie can sell like a motherfucker.
He can. You know, NXT has just... I don't know. I
It's
don't see a lot
exploded.
coming out of any of it. I don't see a lot coming out of any of its stars right now.
because you're a troll.
I think in the end, it's just going to end up being a whole separate entity. It's not going to be developmental anymore.
That's its best bet. It should replace SmackDown.
I think at this point that it's past even being developmental at this point. I mean, there are guys in there who probably are better than 75% of the main roster.
There's guys on there who have been wrestling for over 20 years.
That's what I mean. I mean, you have guys who have been in Japan, all over the world, Ring of Honor, what the heck's that? Whatever. But you have guys who have been wrestling for a very long time, who are very accomplished, who are very gifted, and who probably didn't need to come to the WWE.
And that's why the WWE treats them like
Yeah.
newbies.
Wait, what?
And yeah, let's be honest. They put them in NXT to get the indie style out of them.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah, they're trying to.
And more importantly,
style.
how many of them have gone anywhere? Seth Rollins is the first one, and he didn't even really do NXT.
Well, you got Ambrose
Whoa,
and Bryan
whoa,
and Punk.
Did you say Seth didn't really do NXT?
No, because he was still part of the FCW days.
Yeah, but he was also the inaugural NXT champion.
Oh yeah, he was. I forgot about that. Ambrose is the one who didn't do it.
Ambrose and Reigns did not do very much NXT.
Yeah, I never even saw Reigns on a single episode of NXT.
Seth was one of the stars of NXT way back whenever it started.
So was Big E Langston.
Well, that's a good point. You never know where things are going to go. I mean, Bo Dallas was the longest reigning NXT champion.
You know, I never actually understood
Before
the,
AJ Neville, anyway.
Well, yeah.
I never understood the appeal of Bo Dallas, ever.
He was a very effective heel at that moment, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, he's
but-
really obnoxious.
but
Yeah,
at this
sure.
point, the obnoxious thing works in smaller places when people know that he's doing it, but to someone casual, it's a bit lost on them.
The whole Sting fucking interview. Did anybody watch
I
that?
watched it. I had to watch it. Bo Dallas took the fucking Scorpion death drop.
Dude, I turned it on, and it was only 5 minutes long, and I was like, what was the point of even watching this? But
Yeah.
more importantly, I was like, Bo Dallas and Sting?
I'm sure he was marking out on the inside. You brought up Sting this year. Anything? SummerSlam?
There's a lot of talk about him and Undertaker were locker room buddies. They rode the plane back.
I saw
There's talks about them doing stuff together. They want to do it,
I've
supposedly.
seen that. It'll be interesting to see if that actually becomes a thing or not.
Can they put on a match together that's going to be worth watching? Maybe.
No.
I feel like
it
they
would
would
have to be all storyline heavy. It wouldn't be an
no,
actual
no.
good
That's
wrestling match.
That's not true. But I feel like they would have to demonstrate. Like, I hate to say it. You know how, like, people work on matches at house shows? Like,
Yeah.
you'll see guys who are feuding work on, like, bigger spots and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there would have to be some way for Taker and Sting to work on, like, a 15-minute match.
I mean, I feel like if you're gonna do it, you're gonna really do it, you should at least take the night after the Rumble all the way to Mania and have little moments with the two of them every week.
I agree.
Or every other week.
I agree. If you're going to go in on that, it's got to have the development because the match might fall short. One of them could get hurt very easily, and I mean they both look great this year. Don't get me wrong. I guess I'm just going to call out Taker then. Anything besides WrestleMania this year?
I don't see it. I've really always been a fan of one last run. I mean, I don't even give a shit if it's 3 months.
Yeah. I don't even think we'll get it, though. He's too old, man.
He's 50.
He's younger than fucking Sting, man.
Yeah, but at the same time, Taker didn't get to go hide in TNA for 14 years. Okay,
I mean, you're right, but
still.
I mean, look at Vince at the same time. Vince put on matches longer than this. Fucking Flair put on matches longer than this.
Yeah.
I don't think.
But at the same time, okay, I'm gonna be the big guy advocate here. He's also what, 6'10", 300 pounds.
Yeah.
His body.
I don't know if he's
Yeah.
300 pounds.
Okay, he's probably somewhere near at that height with his size. His body's most likely breaking down faster than someone who is 6'3" is.
I hear you. I mean, time will tell. So we were talking about Brock winning Money in the Bank. Who else is gonna possibly win Money in the Bank this year?
Ambrose,
yeah.
Ambrose is a great choice, especially if Rollins still has it.
Ambrose has something coming for him this year. There's Money in the Bank or the Royal Rumble. He's going to win one of them.
I agree. I think somewhere along the line this year, Ambrose is really going to get that main event heavyweight championship push.
And he deserves it. He deserves it like nobody else.
He needs
if
to
we're gonna
fix
talk about
his fucking ring style a bit.
if we're gonna talk with, what are you talking about?
I'm getting bored of that shit, dude.
What shit?
Oh, he does the same freaking 3 moves. I hate to say it. He's wrestling straight up WWE style. There's nothing different in his moves anymore. It's the freaking fall through the ropes clothesline. Bulldog, strike, dirty deeds.
He does
I
the
mean-
elbow drop as well now.
I mean, his match
I
with
hear ya.
Cena on Monday was amazing. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time,
A lot of that was the STF. Let's be real. I hear you. I understand. What about Reigns? There's a lot of talks about repackaging. I don't think they're done with him. There's a chance Reigns could get repackaged, get successful, and win Money in the Bank.
His only hope is to go heel.
I actually
No.
I think one of the most interesting things that could happen would be to push him back down the card where he belongs and let him feud with Cena. The fans are gonna have to pick one of them.
Or not.
I mean-
or
I
just keep
think
doing it all the time.
I think it would be interesting to see a Reigns versus Cena feud. You can leave
I
both
mean-
of them face. It doesn't matter.
I hear you, but this is what I'm going to tell you. I was having this conversation with our good buddy Roughly today, and, it goes back to The Rock. And I don't think that John Cena is terrible in the ring.
He's not.
He
He's
is-
above average at minimum.
He's versatile. He's able to pull off things that surprise us still, like that springboard stunner. And, I mean, I don't want to harp on it, but it was clean.
Oh yeah.
It was a clean move. He's still a clean wrestler. He is very well capable of doing clean things in the ring. But the thing about it is, CM Punk was such a good wrestler that he could make The Rock look phenomenal. John Cena couldn't do that with The Rock.
No, but John Cena's never been billed as an amazing wrestler.
No. I understand.
He's not the
But
kind
what
of
I'm going
person
with
who
this,
carry someone average into be looking really good.
no. John Cena is what we'll consider average. Average means you should be able to wrestle cleanly. You should be able to do your moves, and they should look nice. John Cena does that. That should be your definition of average in the biggest wrestling business in the world. Okay? The Rock is below average in this day and age.
Yeah.
He's just not trained for those kinds of things. Roman Reigns is below average.
Yeah.
I can't see a John Cena Reigns feud going very well because John Cena, as talented as he is not talented enough to make Reigns look good. Lesnar was having problems making Reigns look good, let's be honest. Suplex variations do not make you look good, nor does it make Roman Reigns look good.
Yeah, it'd have
There
to be
was some
someone
ugly
like Bryan
suplexes.
or Ambrose or Rollins, the upper echelon as far as in-ring work is concerned. That would have
There was a
Those are the only
lot
people
of
who could
ugly
carry into a great
suplexes.
match.
Exactly. So, I mean, as much as I almost want to see a John Cena versus Roman Reigns feud, it just doesn't work quite well enough. I mean,
Then who
I
can you
feel
put him
like
with?
They'll both get
Ziggler?
pinned anyway.
Okay, but
Ziggler?
what's the point at that point?
maybe a guy like Neville? Maybe a guy like Neville could put on a successful show with Reigns. I don't really know. I don't know if anybody can.
The question is Reigns a face or a heel in this scenario?
I mean, your biggest question is, can Reigns show better ring work? I feel like he has more capability than he's shown us.
He has
Right?
athleticism, he's just not... He's just
Oh,
too
yeah, no,
soon.
he's
In like
certainly
2
got
or
the
3
athleticism.
years he might be good, but his experience is the issue.
Alright, moving on. Survivor Series. Well, who do you think it's going to be team versus team this year?
Team Authority?
I want to see...
Somebody?
I would like to see Team Rollins versus Team Reigns. I could see that as a big possibility this year. Or even Team Lesnar versus Team Rollins.
I don't think we'll get Lesnar for Survivor Series.
I mean, it's hard to tell right now. I don't want to guarantee or say nay. Moving on past that, I mean, the only other real big events this year are going to be the Royal Rumble. Mark, who do you have for the Rumble?
Well, it's far too soon to tell, really. Just as much as with as much information as we have now, I'd say Daniel Bryan.
I think that by that point, the Ryback push could be really, really, really strong.
If Ryback wins, it'll be another cluster.
No, it won't.
No, I don't think.
Smart's
I
like
think Ryback,
Ryback.
you can get the crowd over. I think you can get the crowd behind a Ryback.
Smart's like Ryback at this point. And
Only
which
if Daniel
sucks
Bryan is
because-
nowhere near the building.
Okay, I can put it to you like this.
Okay, you gotta get off Daniel Bryan's dick.
I'm not even
That's what I'm
saying it was
gonna
like me. I'd be fine with a bunch of people winning. But
Here's
the
the
fact of the
thing.
matter is, the last 2 Rumbles have fallen to pieces because
Okay.
of Bryan.
Mark, but listen. Ryback actually people would get behind. Okay, yes, whenever he was doing his thing way back in, 2011 against 2012? It was before 29.
2013, I thought.
Oh, maybe. Okay, whatever. But whenever he was going up against CM Punk, the reason people didn't get behind him was because he got that super sky high push to the moon. That
I don't think that was the problem. I think the biggest
okay, I'm
problem
going against CM Punk.
was that stupid heel turn bullshit.
That fucking crushed him too.
If they hadn't done the stupid heel turn bullshit, it might have turned out okay.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, man. Randy Orton and Ryback, with Ryback's Feed Me More gimmick, and Randy Orton just kind of staring at him like, are you okay? Like, I'm not normal, but you're psycho.
I thought that was interesting.
Here's the
I
thing,
thought
Ryback
that
has
was
all the same problems Reigns has.
But
I
he's
thought it was
he's
beautiful.
He's
He
pushed
has-
his own. It's pushed only because he looks the part. He's not
That's
a
not
good
true.
wrestler. And he's not a good talker.
Dude, Royal Rumble, he had a great fucking match with some really good spots.
And
He's an
Ryback is
average
a
wrestler then,
decent
just like
talker.
Reigns. He's not like fine. He's not bad, but he's not good either.
Okay, he is also an above average talker and an above average wrestler. He
I'd say
carries
average,
matches with because he makes big guys look good. He's had matches with Mark Henry and Big Show that actually look like good matches.
Any good matches I've seen with him have been with people who are like spectacular themselves. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan could get good matches out of him. No one else has.
I don't even think CM Punk got a good match out of
No, he
Even
didn't.
as
But that was
Carson.
also all the Shield bullshit.
Really, it's just like Bryan.
Well, I mean, look, I just think Ryback could get that push this year. I would like to see it. I'm a
I don't
fan of
like
the big
Ryback,
guy.
so I wouldn't.
I like the big guy.
I could see Ryback moving up the card again.
My thing about Ryback, and where I really wanted to take this for my final thing about this year, is if we're going to go anywhere, we obviously know PG is here to stay. And I want more characters like Ryback. I want to get that 80s vibe back If we're gonna act like we're PG era, then we need to be like the 80s again. Ryback fits that for me. Alex, who's your Rumble winner?
I hate to dick ride because, yeah, but it's probably Daniel Bryan. For the simple fact that at this point, I can see Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar headlining WrestleMania 32. And it wouldn't really surprise me. Or Daniel Bryan versus about anybody for the simple fact that they're gonna have to put him somewhere again.
I mean, I'm gonna put it to you like this. We have 3 whole years of Lesnar right now. I would not be surprised if Lesnar does not have the title at the WrestleMania this year, but they end up giving it back to him in the second year.
He's gonna get it back eventually. It's just a question of when.
And there's a good chance he will win it back this year, but that does not mean he will retain it all the way till Mania. That's what I'm gonna say about it. I see him getting it back in the first year, but I just don't see him retaining until Mania or them screwing him out of it.
Yeah.
Both are great options.
Alright, last thing then. Is the Authority finally gonna go away?
Eventually.
At all, before, counting WrestleMania 32, where we will probably get The Rock and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon.
Oh, I mean, that might be the day. Mark, before we go away, actually, I also wanted to ask you who you thought was going to win the Rumble besides Daniel Bryan.
Well, my second choice would then be Ambrose. If he isn't winning the bank of it.
I think
I think
Ambrose
it's a
is
good
going to
choice.
get the push earlier than the Royal Rumble.
He'll get the push, but that doesn't mean he still can't win the Rumble.
I'm going to put it like this. He's definitely still been living on a prayer at this point because he has lost so much recently and still stayed so hot.
That's the thing. It says a lot for his character.
Eventually,
they can stay hot.
If you lose enough, you will not be hot anymore. And I feel like Ambrose might be starting to get near that.
I think Ambrose has months. I think Ambrose has months more than Wyatt does.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that. Wyatt is definitely
dead in the water. Wyatt is dead on the water without a big win and soon.
He needs to crush someone at Extreme Rules. He needs to take Kane and just rip him to shreds. And not actually Kane.
I really don't want to see
and chloroform him. Bray Wyatt beats the shit out of Kane, chloroforms him, and makes him join the family.
Turns him back into the Big Red Machine. There you have it.
Corporate Kane is God. The evil Slacks are God.
The evil
Roughly
Slacks
is happy.
Finally defeated.
Shout outs to Unclean Spitter, the impeccable Matt. I know he would want Daniel Bryan to win because he's also on Daniel Bryan's dick. You guys need to get off Daniel Bryan's dick.
I mean, it is a good dick to ride, though. If you're gonna ride a dick.
I hear ya. I hear ya. Do we feel that Divas are gonna get any legitimacy this year?
It'll be longer than a year.
Actually, I won't even say that. I can't say no, because they've been getting decently longer matches. The thing they need to cut out is this fucking six-woman tag bullshit, and just let them have fucking singles matches.
There is talks about Charlotte and Sasha right now. Apparently Vince is big on them now.
Well, they certainly have what it takes to be big, so.
Well, that Tap Out promotion also is going to be big for Charlotte.
Well, Charlotte also has the last name to succeed no matter what.
She does.
She could be garbage in the ring and she'd still probably succeed, but the fact that she's great in the ring and has an amazing body doesn't help.
I mean, David Flair is what I'm going to tell you about that.
Okay, that's different.
It was very different, though. I'll give you that. Charlotte is definitely a high-speed competitor, and we should watch out for her. Closing thoughts, Mark?
Well, nothing that hasn't been covered.
You can cover this dick, bitch. Alex, what's your closing thoughts?
Sasha's Ratchet.
Ratchet don't mean a bad thing. This has been Snuva.
Are you expecting?
You guys gotta say goodbye.
I'm
expecting you to say goodbye.
I thought Sasha's Ratchet was going to be my goodbye, and I was expecting someone to say no, she's not, but fuck you guys.
I mean, who the fuck was gonna say she's not?
I don't know. Somebody.
Shit.
It's a thing.
Shit. Look, I think this is a topic that we might want to continue talking about next week. You guys think maybe so?
Sure.
Divas? Bitches?
Divas, bitches, the state of the WWE.
That's
I think Ruff's going to be
bad
back
shit.
with us next week. No, she's not.
Yay!
So- Matt's going to be back next week. We got a big show planning. Tiana's going to be back sometime soon. We do have a lot of things about divas we're going to talk about. As always, it's a pleasure. Like, subscribe, find us on Facebook, Kayfabe Gimmicks,
And suck my dick.
and something like that.
I'm gonna go
You
watch
guys have a
NXT
great night.
now.
Go watch NXT.